Welcome back to our Cobra Kai Season 2 review. Today we're looking at Episode 4. I'm the Grappler 6, he's the Grappler 8, and let's just get into this thing. All right, 8. So we open up and we're looking at Dimitri coming right back to the Cobra Kai dojo, only to fight John Kreese. I don't know if that's probably the best idea for Dimitri, but regardless, Dimitri comes in and he's got some ground rules.
But he seemed like he was glad it was Kreese rather than Johnny. I don't know if
That
you
is
noticed
true.
that.
That
He
is
was
true.
like, "Oh, good thing." Go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you.
No, all good. So he doesn't want to be hit. He doesn't want to be kicked in the face. So basically, Kreese punches him in the face and sends him on his way right out of the dojo and kind of teaches Dimitri a little bit of a lesson.
Highly illegal. But again, it's private property. It's in a dojo, so there's that gray area. I'm not on board with that. I'm not on board with Dimitri coming in making demands, but I'm not on board with assault either.
Very well put. Very well put, Ocho.
Right,
so
right.
now we're back at the Miyagi-Do dojo, and we see Robbie and Sam kind of talking, and they're kind of talking about the Cobra Kai demonstration that they put on, and that they people want to see fighting. They don't want to just see
right fake
and
fake
some breathing.
And, yep,
so
yeah, exactly.
They want to show Robbie and Sam want to show everyone that they can fight too. So they kind of continue to discuss that. Next thing we know, we see John Kreese back in the Cobra Kai dojo, and he's telling a bunch of his war stories and some of his unique stories from the past. And then it pans right over to Johnny arguing with the landlord over the increased rent, and they end up making a brand new handshake deal as far as for the building.
Right, and he said you raised my rent 6 months ago, so that means Johnny's been working hard for probably more than 6 months, because if he raised it 6 months ago, it must have meant he was there even prior to that. So here's just a guy trying to make a living. That's it's the all-American way. Just work hard, earn your money, that kind of thing. And now they're trying to stomp him. The man's keeping Johnny down, and I don't like that.
Okay, so John Kreese. We're back to John Kreese, and he's telling his stories, and Miguel picks up on a few inconsistencies in those stories, and he ends up calling Kreese out on it.
Kreese Somalia is Mogadishu, and yeah.
Yeah, correct. So and Kreese isn't. You could tell he's not very happy about it. But what we do see again, that's pretty cool. The Home Depot kid's in the class now. He's now training. Johnny thinks he's somebody's parent. But this kid, hey, he's got the Skrilla. He wants to, he wants to take the classes too. So Johnny accepts him in a trial basis.
His rent got raised. So he took the scratch. You got to do that. You got to.
That's what you got to do. You got to survive. You got to survive when you're a Cobra Kai. So we see Tori making her first appearance, and Johnny wants to know, who wants to take on the champ. You know what I mean? Who
Ballsy.
Here wants to take on the champ? Yeah. And, Tori raises her hand. Hey, Tori likes a challenge. She wants to know if everyone in Cobra Kai can actually fight. And she ends up taking on Miguel. It's a good back and forth scrap. A lot of emotion involved. And we end up learning that Tori's name is spelled with a Y.
Yeah. So not only is there good karate, Miguel is trying to teach as he's fighting, and she's trying to teach him some proper spelling. So, these are good kids, man. You can tell.
One thing I did pick up on, and I'm not sure if you picked up on this, but I pay close attention.
Sure.
It's your job. Allie in the original Cobra Kai referenced her name being spelled with an I.
With an I, and he said Daniel with an L. That's right. Man,
so I don't know.
You are on your game.
Yes, correct. Daniel with an L, very important. So, but next we see, Daniel, and he's cruising to the beach. He's got Robbie and Sam and some old school bucket of bolts that they're driving that barely started, and they're going to the beach. They're heading to the beach to try to find some new recruits.
Yeah, right.
Then we see Tori and Aisha in the local mini mart. Picking up some Jolly Ranchers and a couple of Dr. Peppers. I think a bag of popcorn and maybe a Kit Kat. and they end up, Aisha asked Tori to go to the beach with her, so she's got a little bit of backup.
Right, right. And Aisha was like, boy, this is going to be a chore. And Tori, the hard worker, is like, that doesn't sound like much of a chore to me. Of course I'll go, like this is a treat for Tori with a Y.
Thank you with a Y. I appreciate the detail. So next we see Hawk, who's talking to Dimitri on the phone.
Yes.
And Hawk is not happy that Dimitri went and couldn't hang with Sensei Kreese at the Cobra Kai dojo, and basically reiterates to Dimitri, snitches get stitches, and he needs to keep his mouth shut.
And Dimitri says, I already have stitches because he beat me. So, but hey, you want 1 stitch or do you want 15? So I guess, Dimitri, it's your call.
It's a good point. I mean, it seems maybe a little too much tough love there by Kreese. But I guess we'll see how the story plays out. So next we see Miguel talking to Johnny that he's picked up on the fact that Kreese's stories just don't add up.
Yeah, they're not jiving up. And I think Johnny's starting to remember. Johnny, as he says, boy, what a guy. Just a great guy. Johnny even says, hey, I'm still learning. He does this, and so he's learning too. And I think he's starting to sense that, even though he says to Miguel, just to reassure him, because Johnny will always protect Miguel as if he were his own son. So he'll take care of Kreese. But yeah, I think he's very aware.
Then we see Abs, Robbie, laying out on the chair, and one of the people from the hotel comes over and wants to kick him out. This guy remembers Robbie from last year when he worked at the hotel.
Yeah, he was a different person, man.
He was a completely different person, and he's about to get kicked out. Mrs. LaRusso comes over and explains to this chump that, Robbie is their guest, and he's not going anywhere. And Robbie explains to Mrs. LaRusso that, he used to be, like you just said, Ocho, a completely different person. I mean, he was stealing computers. He was robbing banks. He was setting buildings on fire. All sorts of things. I mean, he's flying planes.
Mayhem. Yeah. Mayhem.
I mean, he's letting chemtrails at the back of these planes.
Oh, absolutely.
He's doing drug runs. I mean, just the
crop
transformation.
Circles, I mean,
the transformation this kid's made in a year's time is pretty unbelievable if you ask me.
How about the hero that Mrs. LaRusso is too, by the way? Husband leaves her, she's running the dealership, and then she still has time to stick up for Robbie
at the beach club and go to the beach and enjoy yourself. Unbelievable.
Yeah, right. I mean,
she can really multitask.
That's a hero.
Daniel's now surrounded by all these parents of these kids, and he's telling them about the Miyagi-Do dojo and how it differs from Cobra Kai and why Miyagi-Do is the place that their kids need to be.
Right. And I noticed that, here's, because they're talking about, bullying and, hot topics here, man, real topics. And here's Daniel of about 124 pounds talking to a guy who's got arms almost like the Ocho. And the guy, all right. And the guy next to Daniel is saying, boy, I wish my kid would learn how to defend himself. Well, dude, get him on your workout plan and no one's going to mess with him. So I think LaRusso kind of picked the wrong crowd for that, too. And then here comes Aisha's mom, by the way.
Well, yeah, I was going to say Aisha's mom comes over. She talks about how great Cobra Kai's been for Aisha, how it's made Aisha come out of her shell. She's got more friends. She's got confidence, everything that
it's
a
not
good
just karate
instructor would teach a child and what you want them to. And Aisha's mom happens to have the demonstration on her phone, and she pulls it out for all the parents to see. And you can visibly see Daniel get upset when Aisha's mom pulls his phone open and starts showing this demonstration.
Yeah, he's drained. He's literally just drained. The enthusiasm is drained. I think he was a little bit of an overactor, maybe because he was looking for sympathy. Again, trying to just call it straight on, but
I can kind of see where Daniel was coming from a little bit, though, and why he was so upset. I don't know if I don't think Aisha's mom, I don't know if that was the right setting to tell all these parents about Cobra Kai.
Oh, they're talking about bullying. They're talking about what wonderful. And again, karate is
Daniel
more than
got
just
pushed
karate.
off a cliff. He got pushed off a cliff when he was on a bicycle by one of these Cobra Kai guys. You know what I mean?
That was hearsay. And, he did, try and steal a dude's girlfriend. But again, hearsay. Oh, listen, well, you know what?
Look, let's move on, Ocho. We
Yeah,
got to stay even keeled here.
Right,
So
right.
next we see, we're back to Tori. Tori comes over and she stole alcohol. She actually stole a bottle of vodka, and immediately her and Sam don't get along, and Sam's not cool with it. Sam asked her why are you stealing anything? And
Here's Sam with her sense of entitlement, by the way, that because she's been so freaking pampered, she doesn't have to steal anything. Meanwhile, Tori with a Y growing up on the streets, who knows what she's got to do, turning tricks, I don't know. But, man, you got to make a living. You got to survive on the streets. But, Sam wouldn't know anything about that.
So it's Sam's fault that she was born to parents who are successful, and Tori was born to parents who were not successful, and made
Sam's
her eat scraps of food out of the trash can, and thinks going to the beach is some big deal. I don't know if that's Sam's fault. Ocho.
Are you looking at this clearly?
Yeah, man. You see the shirt? I'm a fan. I'm watching it objectively. That's all I can be doing. I'm just telling you, I don't think it's fair to pinpoint Sam in that manner. Look, we're moving on.
Who is she to tell others what to do? That's all. She's so entitled. She's just going to tell somebody what to do. Like, mind your own biz, Sam.
Are you finished, Ocho?
Will you stop it?
So next we see Johnny starts following Kreese, and he's a little suspicious of him after his story, hearing him on the phone. Miguel picking up on the fact that he's not making much sense, and Johnny, gets in the Challenger. Turns that car on. He's following Kreese and calling some of the places Kreese said he lived.
Yeah.
And no one's heard of him. And Johnny ends up finding Kreese living at a shelter.
Yeah, I mean, and how incognito was Johnny too? I mean, there's no way you'd recognize him. So he was smart by how he kind of hid in the traffic and everything. A black and yellow Challenger, you'd never find that.
No, with that loud exhaust. With that loud exhaust he's got on there. Actually, right beforehand, what they didn't actually show, this will probably come out in the extras down the line, but he actually slid right under and welded in a couple resonators real quick. That way, he could tell Kreese, and Kreese wouldn't hear the car.
Right. Smart. I mean, these are the lengths he's going for a guy who he wants to give a second chance to. I mean, it's just noble.
So now we're back at the country club, and Sam's mom realizes that she lost her wallet. And, she thinks she knows who it was. And she actually accuses Tori of stealing her mom's wallet.
Yeah.
And based off the fact that she stole alcohol, she was eyeballing the silverware. She mentioned some little kid's pair of shoes she wanted to steal. I don't know. I mean, was it okay for Sam to accuse her? Yeah, maybe. Based off of that,
okay.
That kind of background.
She wanted to steal a watermelon just to eat. I mean, like that's they need to nourish their bodies. They weren't born with a plastic spork in their mouth like Samantha LaRusso was.
So are you saying she wanted to eyeball it? So she was eyeballing the silverware to cut her watermelon?
Basically. Well, what are you going to eat it with?
Oh, okay. All right, Ocho.
I didn't mean to get wound up.
I'm looking at it right down the middle. If this is how you're feeling about that, I'm okay with that. So, we're not going to agree on everything.
What happens next? I want you to reiterate this here, pal.
Well, Sam tried to grab Tori's purse, right? Because she thought the wallet was in the purse. Tori turns around and pushes Sam right into the damn table.
Right, because Sam put hands on her first. That's assault under the law.
Sam had food all over her clothes.
All over her clothes.
That was a brand new outfit from Macy's that she just picked up just to go to the beach.
Yeah, then her dad will buy another one anyway. He'll just sell a car because he's a shyster. He's not a shyster.
Most honorable salesman in all the valley, Ocho. You better get your facts straight. So, next thing we know, Robbie has an idea where he thinks the wallet may be. And Robbie ends up finding the wallet, but it turns out it's his old buddies from the first season that he stole computers with and broke into houses with and set buildings on fire with. And chemtrails and beat up bums on the street. So basically now these guys are jumping Robbie because Robbie tells them, you better give all this stuff back. They're not going to do it. They ended up jumping Robbie down on the beach. Luckily for Robbie, Mr. LaRusso was just lurking up on the cliff. Boom, he jumps down. puts up the hands, and he ends up beating the guys up on the beach.
In a very athletic pose, too, LaRusso was, too. You noticed that, right? Also, he just happened to put the phone right on the ledge. Did you notice that?
Well, Robbie's a smart kid, Ocho.
Robbie's trying to market, so he's still got his street smarts, but he's, here he is, this new Robbie. So I'm not sold on him yet. Maybe there's a chance. We'll see. As long as the LaRussos don't mess him up. I didn't say that. I'm looking at it objectively. So, here comes, and then they beat up a bunch of guys.
Yeah. There, Ocho. Like, what do you mean the LaRussos are going to mess him up? Like,
well, if he starts putting hands on
people, why are you
like
leaning
Sam
Cobra Kai here, Ocho? Why are you leaning Cobra Kai?
I think you're just making this up because you're not looking at this objectively. You're looking at this like, hey, all roses and rainbows for LaRussos, and
Okay, fine. Let's move on. So next we see Kreese and Johnny are talking in the shelter that that Kreese lives in, and Kreese gives him a whole backstory on everything that he was doing and where he came from, and Johnny starts to take some sympathy. And he takes him back. He tells Kreese, man, come on back, help me teach at the dojo. And
noble, heartwarming, or almost, right?
I thought it was pretty nice of Johnny. Look, Johnny clearly has a pretty decent heart on him. Doesn't maybe necessarily make all the right decisions, but he does have a decent heart. So now we see Daniel and Robbie back in Miyagi-Do, a Miyagi-Do new student, and it's Dimitri. So Dimitri's a good kid, clearly very smart, and maybe a little obnoxious with some of his questions. But overall, I think he's a good kid, and he is here to learn some Miyagi-Do karate. And
so is LaRusso just going to put him to work and make him do, violate child labor laws again and whatnot? Or I'm getting upset, Six, because I'm starting to see a pattern with this guy.
Listen, Ocho, okay? Not everyone is going to teach karate like Cobra Kai teaches karate. There are other methods. There are other methods out there. And just because Daniel LaRusso utilizes those other methods doesn't mean he's violating child labor laws because he lets these kids paint the fence and sand a deck, lay new carpet, and put some tile down. What's the issue?
I don't even know who you are anymore.
Look.
Damn it, subscribe to the Brothers Grappler YouTube channel! Like the video, damn it! Leave a comment!